Good morning. I wish I know how to speak Korean, but I'll try my best to convey the message and intelligence of 싱글스토어 in English, and hopefully you guys are able to kind of get the gist of it. I'm super excited to be here to talk about 싱글스토어 and the latest innovation which we are doing. One of the areas where we are focused on right now is how to bring the intelligence. Do you know how many of in the room know that we have a vector support a lot before anybody even talk about vectors? Anybody know in the room that when was the vectors introduced in 싱글스토어? 2018. That's when we actually built our first vector capabilities, and that became a foundation for multi-model database. That is how we brought in a lot of additional capabilities. So the beauty about 싱글스토어 is not only that it is super fast, high concurrent. The real value is that it is multi-model as well. So you don't need multiple databases to solve different problems. With that introduction, let's talk about that. If you look at last 10 plus years, lake houses become very common. If you look at Snowflake, Databricks, everybody was accumulating data at a massive scale in those lake houses. But with AI, the real edge is now the real-time capabilities. What makes 싱글스토어 left, right, center in this innovation is our HTAP capabilities. You saw a recent announcement from Databricks that we need something which can handle transactions and analytics at the same time. And they call it LTAP. And the beauty is that even after that, they come up with LTAP, and it's going to be built on top of 3 engines. 싱글스토어 has been doing transactions and analytics on single copy of the data for the last so many years. That's how the company name was changed from MemSQL to 싱글스토어. The reason why I'm talking about this thing is that this shows in this agentic era, you really need a system where agents are making a transaction and it's immediately available to other agents to act upon them. This is the reason why Snowflake, Databricks, all CSPs are racing to bolt on multiple technologies to solve that problem. I'm sure you guys must have heard that, and a lot of you in this room have been trying to put AI to the test. This is a recent survey results. 95% AI projects fail. And one of the main reasons is that not that models are not smart and people who are implementing is not smart. It is all about the biggest thing which differentiate from a successful implementation to a failed execution is how well is the context, how real is the context. What is context? and why this is so critical. If you think about that, models are getting better. Day and night, they are getting better in the last 2 years. Better model does not mean a better AI, especially for enterprises. Better model means more expensive, more token. You're going to burn a lot more money to solve that problem. How do you solve that problem? How do you make better model, excellent model, is attaching that with real-time context. And why this is important? Think about a banking customer, and you ask a banking customer to use one particular LLM model. LLM model, without the context, has a knowledge of the whole universe. You're getting my point, that it has a knowledge of the whole universe. That's how LLMs are being trained. This is why it's called large language model. They have the most knowledge about almost everything in planet Earth. But as a banking customer, do I care about that? If I ask a question, if I can't make it work for my bank, two things going to happen. First, it's going to hallucinate. It's going to give incorrect information. Second thing going to happen, it is going to be super expensive. And both of those things are not acceptable for enterprise customers. Why it is not acceptable? Because going back to why 95% projects fail, because businesses cannot afford that, hey, I'm 95% accurate. 5% I'm not sure if I'm going to be working well or not. This is the gap which your real-time context fill. This is what make that model grounded. It make it relevant to that banking customer. This is how it helps you control your even cost, accuracy, cost, everything get controlled through with proper context. What is the context? When we talk about real-time context need to have 5 of these characteristics. It need to be always connected with your data. If you are getting a real-time data, if your data is getting constantly changing, you cannot create a static version of the context. Context need to evolve along with your data. It has to be fresh. It does not have to go through the complex ETL process to make it available. It need to update in millisecond as your data is changing. Updatable. As I said, like context, you cannot lock in context in the past and say make accurate decision in the future. As your data evolve, as your thoughts evolve, as your business processes evolve, context need to be updatable. And when it comes to the speed, it has to respond in millisecond. It cannot be running for hours or minutes to produce the similar kind of results. And one of the last one, you will see one key theme where we are making sure SingleStore is an open platform. We want to make sure that you can easily integrate into your organization. It means most of you guys must have mainframe, you will have Oracle, you will have SQL Server, you will have Snowflake, you will have Databricks, you will have Microsoft systems, you will have AWS systems. We want to be the +1 to that, your enterprise architecture. We are not saying that rip and replace any of the things which you have. We want to be +1 as an intelligence layer on top of all those technologies to solve that problem. This is the reason why system is completely open, context is open. So this shows that how some other vendors are trying to accomplish that when it comes to real-time context and how it impacts the decision lag. That's a top is a more traditional way to do some of these things. The bottom is the way SingleStore does it. With that context, now let's talk about what exactly is Aura Intelligence Platform, what SingleStore is building, and how this is unique compared to some of our competitors. First of all, I'm proudly to say that probably we are the only vendor we have built a complete intelligence platform on top of SingleStore database itself. We are using SingleStore as a short-term memory. What other people use for that? They use Redis, Warkey, and stuff like that. We use SingleStore for conversation history. What other customers or products use in that area? They use Mongo, they use Elastic. We use SingleStore vector capabilities as part of our intelligence platform. Others will use Pinecone and Malvis and other such technologies. We use full text search capabilities. Others will be using Elastic and stuff like that for that. And on top of all this, your data is also both columnar JSON is sitting in SingleStore. So one of the unique value propositions, especially for highly regulated customer, is that SingleStore AI intelligence is built on 100% on top of SingleStore. It carries the same governance control what your data has. We are not stitching 5 different systems to kind of get to the results. This is very, very critical. We don't stop there. Our billing or logging, telemetry, everything is sitting in SingleStore as well. This shows the power of SingleStore database. That is what allows us to build something really, really unique. So with that mindset, if you look at that, these are the other characteristics how people are building intelligence. We build Aura intelligence, which live on live operation data, low latency, high concurrency. So your data, your context, your logging, your consumption, everything sits together. It has the same governance and control what your data has. As I mentioned, and this is very one of the most critical slide if you think about that, if you want to take home, what exactly where SingleStore is evolving. One platform, 4 building blocks, open data platform. What does it mean? We talk about that briefly. That we want to make sure that there is no data lock-in in SingleStore. We are a +1 to your architecture. What does it mean? Your data could be in mainframe, your data could be in Postgres, MySQL. We are bringing that data CDC in SingleStore easy. Is that an open platform? No, it's not. We are just bringing data easier into SingleStore. One other capability we are launching along with that, CDC out. So once your data get enriched, it has now value. Enterprises want to give this data to downstream lakehouses or other systems. So we are bringing CDC out into SingleStore. You can easily bring data into SingleStore. And when you want to give this data to downstream application, you can CDC out this data to other systems. So that's one aspect of open data platform. Second area where we are working on, I'm just going to go off order a bit. Speedy layer on Iceberg. One trend which we are seeing with our enterprise customer, they do not want to lock in on a single vendor anymore. They want enterprise to own the data. On the data, they could use any engine based on their needs. This is very, very critical concept. So what we have done with Iceberg and Delta, we materialize the data and provide real-time speed on top of Iceberg data. You control how much data of Iceberg matters to you. It could be 1 month, it could be 1 year, it could be 2 years. Think about a scenario. You are getting this data from your lakehouses into SingleStore. Now real-time stream is coming from Kafka. You are making real-time decision. That's very important second aspect. So you are now making your intelligence layer work both on historical data as well as real-time data. You're driving your business insights. Now, once the data is sitting in SingleStore, you have an option to write this data back to Iceberg. So your data we can bring into SingleStore based on your needs, enrich that data, write it back to Iceberg as well. So this is called the open data platform, that there is no part of your data is locked in SingleStore. Second, most important aspect of the whole open data platform concept, there is one missing bit. What is that? Iceberg compatible catalog. If you look at Snowflake, they work with Polaris and Horizon catalogs. Databricks has its own catalog, Unity. IBM, AWS Glue, and H catalog. The beauty of SingleStore is that we work with all those catalogs. So no metadata lock-in, no data lock-in. This is called the open data platform. And why we call it a speedy layer on Iceberg? Actually, this is the name given by one of our largest customers. They're saying, we're going to store all their data in Snowflake. But when it comes to serving the real-time application, Snowflake cannot do that. They are building a speedy layer on top of SingleStore, and all their application agents are running on top of SingleStore. So your lakehouse is still Snowflake, but your real-time operational store has become SingleStore without doing any ETL. That is a value. This is a massive time saving. Historically, if somebody want to accomplish something like that, they would spend days, weeks, months to set up complex ETL processes. Now, this is all available as form of easy buttons. What are easy buttons in modern days? These are your MCPs. These are your agents. Why agents are so critical? Why MCPs are so critical? MCP is now the new standard to talk to other systems. I'm sure a lot of people in the room are using Cursor, Claude, Codex, and other AI tools. How do you make them smarter? How do you want them to kind of work well with your database, with your system? It's all happening through different form of MCPs, or agents, right? And the best part is that when you combine all these things, that's the foundation where we call it Aura intelligence. That's where it lives. So, what we have done, this is, if you think about that, a extremely, extremely critical and exciting slide. It talks about 3 ways I can serve my AI business value. We talk about real-time database. We talk about real-time context. This is your database sitting in SingleStore. Essentially, all these are running on a shared context, which is also sitting in SingleStore. The serving layer on the same common context engine could be Aura Analyst, and you will see a demo shortly of Aura Analyst, and there is a, I guess, stall outside which is showing that. You guys should go watch that. That, think about it's very similar to Cortex and Genie. Analyst.singlestore.com, I could have a co-pilot experience and get answers directly from my data, which are grounded, which are accurate, which is based on real-time context. All that is happening in that form factor. But you will say, yeah, this is great, but I have a real-time application. All my people log on to that application. How I'm going to build something like that? This is where the second form factor comes. We call it embedded or headless. We provide MCP or API or agent, whatever you want to call it, on the same context and database. You can easily make your existing application AI ready. It will show up as a sidecar in your application, and people can ask the questions related to the application and data what sits. It is fully governed and controlled who can ask question and who cannot. You can control that. So that's the second form. Third is that, yeah, this is great, but I want to give my own branding. I don't want to go to analyst.singlestore.com. I want to go to intelligencemycompany.com. I want to kind of accelerate the delivery of AI initiative. This is where we call it Aura code. All the capability which are built here are available to you as MCP. So you can actually build your own application. Think about a scenario, some data is getting served from SingleStore, some might be coming from Snowflake, some might be coming from Databricks. You can build all that using Aura code yourself, using your favorite vibe coding tool. So whatever used to take you months to build on top of SingleStore, you can get head start and stand up your application in days. This is the core part of Aura Intelligence Platform. This is again very important slide. If you think about that, this is great, but what is the unique value proposition of SingleStore? Let's look from another angle here. This is your database. These are all the things which we are doing in the context engine. It's a 3-layer context. It has the absolute best knowledge how to leverage SingleStore at a highest level of the context. Then it has a business context about your application, about your database. Think about business ontology, your business rules. You can actually incorporate that into your analyst. And the third is the technical semantic layer. All these things which make SingleStore Aura one of the best in accuracy and speed. And in order to build this enterprise grade, we created a universal model gateway. So I can talk to any model hosted in AWS, Microsoft, or Google. So we talk to the same best-in-class models, but we give you the control that is enterprise grade. What does it mean? What we have built is to serve a highly governed and controlled system which is truly enterprise grade. It is a multi-tenant out of the gate. It has a multi-layered context engine built in. It has robust RBAC, means security controls. You can talk to any LLM. We did benchmarking. If you look at BIRD benchmark or AI-related benchmark, we are pretty much on top of the list in terms of accuracy. One other thing which we have also done that, we want to kind of goes back to the concept of open data platform. We provide a turnkey solution for you. But if I'm sure a lot of banks and highly regulated customers are going to say that, yeah, this is great, but I can't use your model. I want to use my own. So we have a capability to bring your own key as well. Using the same model, unified model gateway, it will talk to your hosted model in AWS or Microsoft. So whatever security control your InfoSec has put around that, it can manage those. And the whole best part is that whole context is version control. I could do A/B testing and release my context for my users. You would say that, yeah, this is great, but I want to build my own. Absolutely, you can build your own. You have your SingleStore database. You can talk to Claude model or OpenAI model or any model. You will be able to kind of create a text to SQL. you will very easily get to 80% in days, in hours, in weeks. But I can bet you that this is the one cause where then AI projects start failing. Remaining 20% is the hardest part to solve for. That's where your accuracy, this is where multi-tenancy, this is where the governance, RBAC, everything is going to come. Hosting, everything. Those 20% is going to almost, you have to spend almost 98% of your time. So it's great to build a prototype, but it's very hard to operationalize and productionalize that. You can absolutely build that. So this is a fundamental difference between why to build from scratch. We gave you multiple ways to incorporate Aura into your application. Let us deal with the hard part. You just focus on the business outcome. Then we are creating a fleet of MCPs and agents. So we are not stopping there. This is all part of Aura foundation. We briefly talk about that. Everything as part of the open platform. We are actually launching every capability as MCP or agent. So your vibe coding tool, your team can make application ready in days rather than months. Real-time ingestion pipeline, MCPs, agents, gonna make it easier and simple. Flow with CDC in, same thing, lakehouse, PD layer setup, all those things, how you bring data into SingleStore easy. What does it mean that? Think about a scenario that I don't know anything about SingleStore. One of the biggest problems I have today, I don't find expert in the market on how to build on SingleStore. These agents actually solve that problem. You're going to get the best possible workers who's going to help you develop these applications easier and simple. They will have the exact same knowledge because they are built on top of something SingleStore secret sauce is called knowledge base. They all know the best knowledge how to make it work with SingleStore. Then the second part comes that, okay, I brought my data in. Now I want to develop my application. The whole development life cycle is again wrapped into MCPs. So your vibe coding tool, your application can easily work with that. Third is that I can give data back to the other systems agents. Best part is that all the things which we are doing, when you are working with the system, we want to make your experience a lot more easier, debuggability a lot more easier. So these are your database management agents or MCPs. Observability. If a query is running slow, I know using this information how to make it fast. This information will go into our performance tuning agent. It will recommend based on that one how to rewrite your query, what index need to be created. Everything is handled automatically through these agents. If there is a customer issue or production issue, my team already know using incident MCPs to collect all the information about your environment and solve the solution as quickly possible. And then your support, when you open a support case, Support agent will have all the information about your problem and become a worker buddy with the support personnel on SingleStore and help him answer and solve your problem in a shortest period of time. So I'm heading towards last couple of slides of my presentation. This is summary. Your data could be sitting in any lake houses. We could make that data easily live for you. So you don't need to kind of do complex ETL to run your dashboard, agents, and application. Everything runs on the single speedy layer concept. If you want to give it a try, all these capabilities exist today, and we're more than happy to work with you guys to try it out, both Aura Intelligence as well as speedy layer on top of SingleStore capabilities to make this a real exercise. So just to summarize, what does it mean that if it goes back to that 95% projects fail? What we have given you the core foundation, Aura Intelligence layer. So you bring your domain and business expertise and get value out of your system as quickly as possible. And also when we say a lower cost, why we think it's a lower cost? Remember I was talking about if I want to build something of this sort of my own, I need 3-4 different databases. You could say that I could use open source. Yeah, of course you can do open source, but who's going to manage them? You're going to then need a team to manage all those things. And also then the latency. How are you going to make sure the data is in sync between those databases? So focus on your business outcome. We guarantee you that you're going to have a lower TCO as well. And it will help you reduce risk as well. Because none of your data is SingleStore Helios environment. All data has the same control, whatever your database has. Nobody outside your database have any access to the context database. This is just to summarize. I'll let you guys read, but essentially you got the gist that if you have live data operations, which is a key for agents to work on, SingleStore is best suited. We can handle transactions and analytics without making a copy on a single engine. Critical for agents. Our concurrency and low latency is best in class. This is what we are known for the last 10+ years. And we are purpose-built multi-tenant. And now, with all the innovation which we are doing, we are open. We work with both Databricks and Snowflake. No matter what lakehouse you have in your organization, Cloudera, Fabric, AWS Lake Formation, BigQuery, Databricks, Snowflake, we work with all of them. So the real moat is how to tame your LLM to solve your problems in real time. So in order to kind of get the best intelligence out of the best model, it requires real-time context, and that is what SingleStore provides. With that, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully, it was useful. And let me know if you guys have any questions. I will be around whole day. Thank you.